Thank you for joining us, everybody. We're going to get our show started in just a couple of seconds here. Want to remind everybody, if you could just share this broadcast, we would greatly appreciate it because it would help us get more views and make the show a lot more exciting for live interaction. So please, don't forget to share the broadcast. We also appreciate all of your likes and comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and get ready for Spit The Wit. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to this show that was entirely produced and developed by the people sitting in front of you. Jessy, Meadows, and Frankie Almost. Brought to you in part by Rolling Hills Productions. Live from Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Spit The Wit. Jessy, if you would be so kind, would you please tell us what today's show's about?
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we have Crazy Jay on the show, and he has his own podcast. He's going to talk about that stuff. And his friend...
Mario.
Just think Mario.
I'm sure you never heard that before.
Here is your host, Frankie Almost.
All right. Well, here we are. Rolling Hills Productions in Studio 3 with our guests. We're going to get to them in just a couple of seconds. Before that, I'm going to say that you guys are going to have trouble telling me and Jay's voice apart today. Because he has a blown vocal cord, and I have a whatever the hell kind of thing going on with my throat. So, anyway, I want to welcome, of course, my co-host and lovely wife, Jessy Meadows. Jessy, thank you for coming in again today. Appreciate it. We're both feeling really ill. That's why I had to let everybody know. So, okay, so let's cut to the chase and get right to the situation. We have in the studio on your right, Crazy Jay, and on your left, Mario.
It's a Mario.
How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Yeah, good.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. It's been, long overdue, man. I've been on your show like freaking 15 times.
Is that all?
I think so, yeah.
Seems way longer.
Doesn't it? Or way more, yeah. So, Crazy Jay, tell us a little bit about your show, will you, man? About your... the rocking comedy
About
show.
the rocking comedy?
Yes,
it's going to be, hard to believe it's going to be 14 years old in September.
Jeez. See, I've been telling everybody just over 10. And
just over 10. Well, yeah slightly over 10. We've almost got 900 episodes in the can, so that's pretty awesome. It's 3 hours. We're live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Nice.
And it's about Vegas. It's about musicians, comedians. Oh, we had a fashion designer on the other day. That was a first for us. And,
nice.
And then, of course, I mean, it's just us having a good time.
Right. Now, you say you've been on for 14 years. What was your history before the rock and comedy show?
Well, I've done radio. It'll be
actual radio.
Actual radio, yeah. I've been involved in radio for almost 27 years.
Wow, dude. That's almost as long as I've been alive, dude.
Right? Half of my life. But, no, I've been doing that for like 27 years, and then I just... other jobs in between that never were as cool as being on the radio.
Right.
That was, even though, I worked at Disneyland for several years, and
what'd you do at Disney?
Well, I did a lot. I started as park maintenance, which is sweeper guy, and then then I went to I did rides for a little bit, and then went down to finally downtown Disney opened, and I went there and transferred and got a job at ESPN Zone.
Oh, nice.
Worked there for about a year and a half, and then they said, hey, we're opening one up at New York, and we're going to need some trainers to go out there and train the staff. 3 months paid, everything you want, blah, blah, blah. 3 months in Vegas paid?
Right.
Let's do it.
Right.
And I went, and then they had their grand opening, and then they offered me a full-time management position.
Wow.
And I did that for 5 years, and I'm still here, even though the ESPN Zone is not.
That's good, man. That's good. So you also, down at Disney, got a chance to work on one of our favorite rides, the Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion?
Yeah. was a good. That was
He's
a good
seen
one.
it like with the lights on. I don't ever want to see it with the lights on. It would totally
I don't
ruin it
either,
for me.
yeah.
It's not as creepy as seeing Space Mountain with the lights on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have all that metal from the tracks above you. You don't realize how twisted that ride really is.
Oh, really?
Because it's pitch black in there when the lights come on. But yeah, it does ruin the illusion to walk through the Haunted Mansion with the lights on.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where that's supposed to happen.
Right. Yeah, that would ruin it for me totally. Because I've I've ridden it like 15 times in a row. Because one night that I was there was like barely anybody at the park, so I just kept back on and back on. Yeah.
It's always fun when you'd get a group of employees. Employees would go like sometimes after work, but like, hey, let's just hang out in the park and have some fun. So you get like maybe 15 people in one group, and there's only like maybe 4 people in there that don't work there.
Right.
And then you start giving the speech that the guy gives, and then they're like, these guys are really loyal fans of Disneyland. Weird every day.
Right. So before we continue a little further, explain to everybody what is going on with your voice, dude. It sounds a lot different than it used to, and
it's actually coming back.
It is coming back.
It is coming back. It's been a long road, but almost 3 years ago, we set out to break a world record, which was the longest uninterrupted broadcast between a duo or a team.
Okay.
And it was the original record was 72.5 hours.
Okay.
So we decided we can do that. We have enough people that co-host the show, and we have enough resources in town
Right.
that we can keep this going for sure. And so the rule was, from the guys that said the record originally, every 10 hours, I, being the main host, would get to take a 2-hour break. So we set out to do it, and we did 80 hours in 1 minute. And I took a week off, which apparently wasn't enough time. Nobody really told me it wasn't enough time. And then on top of that, I got sick, but I didn't realize it was a viral infection because the vocal cord was having a problem, and I didn't know that, and so everybody's like, just drink tea, take some time off, blah blah. I went and stayed with my dad for a couple weeks in Idaho and came back, and it never came through, and then we found out that there was all this congestion build up, and
Wow.
And so now finally it's finally coming back. I feel it snap like. Every once in a while it gets really loud, and I'm like, yeah, it's almost there. So
Yeah, cool.
it's on its way back, ladies.
I feel your pain just briefly, ever so briefly today. I barely ever lose my voice, and so I've had like laryngitis like twice in my life, and so even the little raspiness that I'm experiencing, I'm like, it's so frustrating. I don't know how you've been dealing with it, like at all.
I get used to it, but I'll hear like old clips that I've done, and I'm like, ooh, you know.
Yeah. It was the first time that I saw you since it happened was around your Halloween party.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, dude, it was bad.
It was really bad.
It was bad, yeah. Not your party. Your Halloween party's never bad.
Yeah, they're never bad.
No. Let's talk a little bit about those actually.
All right.
Yeah. Jay's been throwing this Halloween bash every year.
13. It'll be last year was the 13th one.
13th annual Halloween party. They don't always fall on Halloween depending on the weekend.
We try to get it as close as possible.
Right, but typically it's on a weekend
Yeah.
because you don't want people, drunk at work the next day or hungover.
I don't give a shit about that.
What is it then?
It's just I want it as close to Halloween as possible.
So you're just trying to optimize it on
Yeah.
the weekend. Okay, gotcha. But he like really, really decks out his house. Explain a little bit about what the kind of stuff you do when you're decorating your house.
We used to, when I had a bunch of people do it, we'd get together probably in like February or March and start coming up with like, are we going to do a theme? And then we do the whole house. I think one of your favorites that we did was when we did all the missing people, and I went through everybody. This is how far back it goes. I went through everybody's MySpace profiles,
Right.
and made missing person pictures of like when they were a kid, and then I put them all over my house. They could be in the bathroom, they could be everywhere in the house, and people were going through there trying to see if they had a picture up and like why they were missing. Like last seen Tempe, Arizona, at the rest stop, and stuff.
That's cool.
He fabricated all these really weird stories and shit. I don't remember what mine was, but
it was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was a good one.
It was cool. I actually the cool thing that I remember about your little missing persons thing is he had a picture of me, and this is when I was totally in my douchebag stage of my life. I had some like picture with my shirt open and my hair is all slicked back. It was short at the time. and I'm wearing like some ton of shades, you know. And he writes, Frankie Almost, age 27, and I'm standing there staring at it at the age of 35, going, he doesn't know how old I am.
I didn't put anybody's right age on there, though.
Oh shit. Okay, well,
Yeah.
blew the illusion. Thanks, man. So, tell us a little bit about Mario. What do you do, man?
I'm a co-host on the Rock and Comedy Show.
Are you?
I'm
Okay.
also an entertainer around town.
What kind of entertainment do you do?
Whatever I can get my hands on. Like,
Yeah.
I started off as a musician, and
Okay.
you know, I had a lot of odd jobs. I used to do construction. I've worked in call centers, all kinds of stuff. But music has always been a passion of mine, and so I ended up being in this band, which was probably the most fun band I've ever been in.
What's the name?
Kegels.
Kegels.
Yeah. And
Nice.
Yeah. And so we started wanting to be like a serious cover band, and
Okay.
we wanted to nail everything and be perfect. And then I had some downtime one day, and I got really bored, and I wrote this song about butt sex. And it completely changed the entire dynamic of the band. Like, we stopped caring about being perfect with everything, and we started focusing more on the energy that we created at the shows. So even though we would
Right.
mess up half of our songs, people would be like, oh, play another one, because they were having so much fun.
Right. It's more about the experience rather than.
And so that landed me a spot on a podcast, and there was a guy who was a comedian that was on the same station, and he said, have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy? And I was like, hell no, you know, I don't want that pressure when it's just you on stage. Everything's
Right.
your responsibility. And he wore me down, and I said, fine, I'll give it a shot, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I started doing, like, musical comedy, and then you know, the band and everything like that was a hobby for everybody else, but entertainment
Right.
is something I've always wanted to do as a career. And I ended up getting into a car accident. I was working 13-hour days in construction, then driving to LA to do open mics and driving back.
Oh, wow.
I ended up falling asleep at the wheel, and my dash was touching the passenger's headrest, so I shouldn't have walked away from this, and I totally did.
Jeez.
And I had one of those moments where I was like, you can go at any minute, so you know, if I can, I'd like to at least say that I tried
Right.
pursuing what my dream was. So, I mean, I lost everything, so I got myself a job working at Kohl's. Worked there for like 2-3 months, saved like $700. Either sold or gave away everything I owned, and I moved out to Vegas to try and, you know, chase the dream. That
That's
was
awesome, man.
2.5 years ago.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you find were your worst struggles trying to get established?
I mean, I got a really lucky break. Have you guys heard of the Dirty at 12:30 over at South Point?
No, have not.
Okay. Best comedy show in town, hands down, and it's free. It's
Nice.
free. It's when I first got here, I was staying at the Seagull Suites over on Fremont, and I knew one person in town, and she came over. We went and had some drinks, and she went to drop me off, and she's like, "No, you're not staying here." So she said, "Come in, move in with me. We'll work out some kind of rent arrangement." And the show is like about an hour walk from her house, and so
Okay.
I walked down there with my guitar and begged for like stage time. I was like, what do you need? Do you need somebody to vouch for me? Do you need a video? Do you need audio? And do you need to see me perform? I can get myself booked somewhere else. And he gave me a shot. So I came back the next week, and it's because of that show that my name got put on the map. So, I mean, I've had some like really good like leg ups since I've gotten here, but probably
Nice.
the biggest struggle is being an outsider coming in, because it's a very cliquish
Town,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So, I mean, I was already getting booked on shows that people have been trying to get booked on, and so everybody, and not that I'm saying like, oh, I'm the greatest, but
right.
everybody's like, well, how the hell did he get that, you know? And that caused a lot of animosity, a lot of
Right.
resentment, and it's just made it really hard to get booked now. But I still do have opportunities like at the Dirty. That's one of the stages I can perform on, but I'm not allowed to perform at like half the stages in this town.
Not really. Why is that?
Again, like, well, here's the thing, is I don't think comedy should have any rules. But there's these certain people, there's two kinds of comics. There's paycheck comics and passion comics. Passion comics are people who do it because they love it. They're not intimidated by people who are good. They're always striving to be better, and they're motivated by seeing other people succeed. Paycheck comics are the people who want to get to a certain level and then just coast on that. And anybody that they see that's good, they see as a threat to their paycheck.
Right.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, there's a really strong group of paycheck comics in this town who've been here long enough to where they think they run everything. And
Right.
so I've had several instances where I was like, well, screw you. You know, you don't tell me how to do what I'm doing. You know,
Right.
I don't care what rules you think there are. And I give everybody their proper respect, but I
Right.
mean, at the same time, we have to respect each other as artists. You know, if you want me to respect what you do, you have to respect what I do. and they were trying to mold me into something that I wasn't. They wanted me to almost like hold back, to not give 100% because, being that I'm new, I'm doing a lot of hosting spots, which is the first person in the show. So if I go and I blow it out of the water, that means everybody after me has to work harder, and they didn't like that.
Yeah, they don't want you to steal their thunder.
Right, because the paycheck comics always like to look the best with minimal effort.
This is the worst town, not only because of like the politics of that, but just as far as haters in general.
Absolutely.
It's terrible.
It's the worst. I thought California was bad when I left California.
No, it's
nothing on Vegas.
Nothing like that.
They will just hate you. They will hate on you without even you being a threat to what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, you're not even a threat to what they're doing, and people are just like, oh, you're a tap dancer. Yeah, great fag.
Jackass.
When are you going to get a real job?
Yeah. It's horrible town for that.
Well, I use them to motivate me. Like the every time that I get a hater, I assume that door's closed, and it makes me look for another one.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
We were just talking about it though earlier with my partner Howie, who co-owns the studio with me. On the drive over here,
Beautiful
actually.
studio, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, we were talking about how there's little insults that happen, and it's easy to deflect them. But when you're bombarded by 500 people doing the same little insults, it starts to become like you feel like maybe what you would anticipate an Afghan woman getting stoned to death. Like one pebble may not freaking hurt you, but when the whole community's throwing a freaking rock at you.
Well, having a small number of friends in this town allows you to focus, because it's really easy to divert your attention and think that you're doing something because you're at the red carpet event for the opening of a pizza shop out here,
Exactly.
But when you know that you're not going to have a huge group of friends, it lets you focus on what you're doing, and that helps you move forward. So I'm just trying to take all the negativity and kind of like judo it.
That's
into
awesome,
something
dude.
positive,
That's awesome, dude. How long have you been in town?
December 2nd of 2014 was my first day here.
Well, you've learned a lot, dude, in a very short amount of time, so very cool.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So, Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got going on recently with something's happening over at the M Resort. What's that all about?
Right.
Awesome
It's probably the biggest thing I've ever been involved in. I met this guy named Chris from Gangster Audio, the guys that are supplying the headphones, and I started talking to him one day. We got together and had beers, and I was like, man, I've been doing my show for a really long time. I've met a lot of bands, a lot of comics. I would love to just put on a festival, like, put up a stage at Sunset Park, sell some tickets, and let's do it.
Absolutely.
But on top of, rock and comedy show, I also run Radio Vegas.rocks, which is a 24-hour online radio station. And there's another show that we run on there, Cranked Up Live, and they're like syndicated everywhere. And he was like, I've always wanted to move to Vegas. If we could do an event that would allow that to happen, that'd be really cool. So the three of us got together, and this little idea I came up with is now happening on April 28th through the 30th at the M, and we have guys like Alien Ant Farm, Buck Cherry,
Nice.
Trapped,
Puppies.
Sick Puppies. I mean, it's just the list is just unreal. And then we have like DJ Lethal coming out to DJ, and it's just insane. We got Boba Flex, and just 22 bands, and we've got tattoo artists, like Color Couture and all these guys all
Awesome,
coming out.
dude.
And we got Finlay Chevy involved, and they're giving away a Camaro or two, and it's just. It's sick, right? And I've never done. I've been involved in a lot of stuff,
right?
And I've got to host a lot of stuff, but never to where there's going to be like 6,000 people at a pool party.
That's freaking awesome.
And we're
dude.
walking out there.
I think me and Jess might need to make an appearance to this thing.
You absolutely should.
Yeah, it's sick, and so we ended up having a few spots left, and we decided we were going to do a battle of the bands, and so we've been doing that a couple of weeks. And now we've got the finale happening this coming Friday the 21st.
Yeah.
Over at Adrenaline, and the winner is take all. They get the last spot on the main stage.
That's so dope, dude.
To play. So they got to bring it. And the bands that won that are in the finale are phenomenal. All of them could go, and it wouldn't be a disappointment. But it's going to be an all-out battle for sure. We gave them color coded tickets. These are yours, and so part of their deal to win is how many people do you bring.
Right.
I think the first round we did the first night one band brought like 95 people. So we had 95 people on a Wednesday night at Adrenaline, and then the other band brought like 60 on a Wednesday night. So now this is on a Friday, and it's free to get in. There's no cover. Just come down and root for the guys you like the best. We got Gangster Girls coming out. They're going to be giving away, they give away headphones. They give away all kinds of stuff. Heineken sponsoring it. Shakespeare Vodka is going to be there. Drink specials all night. So
that's crazy, man. I often wondered what it would be like to be able to have 95 friends actually support what I do.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, they're accomplishing some kind of pinnacle freaking thing that I could never.
And you look at like Facebook, you can post something like, "Hey, I'm doing a show today," and I list everybody that's on the show, what's going on. You get 4 likes. I post a picture and say, "Hey, I've lost 7 pounds this week." 142 people like the picture. I'm like, what?
They're seeing your post.
Right.
Yeah.
Ignore it.
So I'm like, come on.
It's so petty, dude, and everybody's so shallow. It's disgusting, man. I mean, here we are. We're all people. I mean, you've blown your freaking vocal cords out for the love of God, doing what you like to do.
Right.
And there's just no amount of respect there, And it's a really tragic thing. It really is. Vegas needs to get its shit together, because I remember, back in the late 90s and stuff, Vegas was a pretty cool town back then.
Because it seemed like everybody worked together.
They did.
All the entertainers supported each other.
Different.
Right.
When I first met Frankie, he was doing the Golden Palms Hotel. He was doing karaoke.
Right.
And
I was a KJ.
It was at least, you had to have at least 200, 300 people there a night. It was insane.
Maximum capacity was 500, and there was a couple of times the fire marshal came and shut us down.
And shut it down. Unbelievable. And now there's so much karaoke and there's so much competition.
Right.
It's just like
it's so saturated, and it's on every corner, and any jackass can do it with stolen files and the whole thing,
But like when you do your karaoke stuff, it was never, people never really had to wait. Like some KJs have their favorites, and like he gets to come up again, and they'll be like,
right.
I'm sorry, I lost your slip, fill it out again.
Right.
And stuff like that. So I mean, it's just it's weird how this town works.
It was crazy, dude. Speaking of that, because I had a group of loyal friends, and they actually did transfer over to the Golden Palm. I had a good 80 friends that used to come to my karaoke show once a week at this little tiny dive bar that I was hosting at, and they ended up coming over there. But then when they saw how many other people they had to compete against to get up there, because I wasn't playing favorites to anybody. Now, of course, mind you, I was playing favorites to tips. If somebody drops me $20 or $100,
you're going right up.
They're next. Yeah. So, but what was really cool was this one night, and I lost.
I think if I remember it, you called that an instant request.
Right. And I actually lost all that following. They ended up not following me anymore. But what was really cool was ICP and Wolfpack came in one night and threw 700 bones at me and was like, "We want to be able to sing whenever you can still put everybody else up, but when we say we're up, we're up." And I was like, what am I, an idiot? Of course. $700, boom, in 3 seconds.
Right.
And it's ICP.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just some things you don't say no to.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That was a great place. So tell us a little bit about, there's one topic that I wanted to talk about. I always tell this to people when I talk about you. This guy, I don't know how many people in this room know. I'm sure you know Mario, but this guy is like friends with Weird Al Yankovic, which is like the coolest freaking thing in the world.
This guy's friends with everybody.
Right. How did you meet Weird Al, dude?
The Dr. Demento show. That's my humble beginning for everything is. I discovered his show in 1989, and only novelty stuff I ever knew was like Weird Al. Wasn't big on anything else. My parents got me my first real stereo system for Christmas, so it was it was the real deal. CD player, cassette player, record player, was a whole
That's so awesome.
thing. And I was just flipping the dials one time, and I heard this insane song, and I was like, what is that? And then another one came on, and another one, and then I was like, oh, that's Weird Al, that's cool. And that was it. And I was just hooked on his show,
Right.
right away. He's the one that gave me the name Crazy J, gave me all that.
Uh-huh.
And then when I decided I want to do radio, that's what I'm going to go to school for. Dr. Demento was really good about these are the classes you should take, but be understanding that it's a very tough market. It's probably the toughest thing you could do, but if you're persistent, which you are, I think you'll be very good at it. Then he opened up and let me come into a show and answer phones with the rest of the group, and then one night, just answering phones one Sunday night, Weird Al walks in. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Weird Al. And ever since then, we just stayed in touch. I had to do a couple of interviews doing radio in college. And so I asked Al if he'd do a couple of them, and he did. And then just over the years, I'm a fan, but I'm not a fanboy. So I don't go out of my way to go to the Weird Al conventions.
Right.
Or,
I'm going to be there because I know him. So,
yeah, I don't need to do that.
Right.
And and he's been great. He'll grant me an interview every time, and I'm not every time he does something we got to have him on the show. He releases an album out every 4 to 5 years, spaces them out because it's you start thinking, oh, Weird Al went away, and then boom, here he comes.
Right.
And now with him not having a record company finally, he's out of it, he can do his own.
Oh, nice.
So now it's if he comes up, if he gets a wild hair up his butt and wants to do a parody, he doesn't have to follow it up with 12 other songs. He can just do a parody and put it on iTunes, and it's gonna go through nuts. So yeah, and that's how I met him. And I just, I'm just not one of those guys that. I hit up a lot of people when I interview them. I hit them up directly and be like, hey, you should come on the show again. To this day, Al is still the only guy that I will call his manager and be like, hey, let's do this. And they're like, you can send him an email. I know, but I respect that of him because that was somebody growing up that I just was totally, I idolized the guy. Right. So to me, to have that friendship with him, and I just... I'm I still call the manager and be like, hey, yeah, can we set this up? He's got an album coming out next week, and usually it's always granted. So
that's awesome. What's your favorite Weird Al moment?
Weird Al moment?
Yeah.
That I've actually...
Something that actually sticks out in your brain that, instantly...
When I was working at Knott's Berry Farm, and I took my parents in there one night because the Smothers Brothers were performing. So I told my parents, I go, hey, if you guys want to go, I'll get you in. And a buddy of mine was like, Weird Al's in the park. And I go, oh, that's pretty cool. And so I told my mom, I'm like, yeah, apparently Weird Al's visiting the park tonight. And about 5 minutes after I said that, he goes walking by. And my mom, joking around, not thinking it was really him, it's just some guy in a wild shirt and crazy hair. She goes, that's him right there. And I went and I go, holy crap, it is. And I went over and I go, hey, how's it going? And my mom's just standing there with this dumb look on her face because she's like, oh, I was just messing around, but it's really him. And then she had never met him, so I said, hey, Al, this is my mom. And he probably gets confronted who knows how many times by people wanting autographs and all this.
Right.
He went up to my mom and he acted like he was going to shake her hand. He dropped to his knees and he was like, I'm not worthy to meet the woman who created Crazy J. And he's all rolling around, making all this noise. And she was so embarrassed by it. And then, but now all the attention was on her and not on him. So it was really funny.
That's so awesome. That's dope. See, I'm glad I asked that question. Sounded like a silly question at first, didn't it? Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about Zowie Bowie.
Oh, yes.
We need to talk about that.
That's actually how I met Mario 2 years ago. We did we got this idea on the Rock and Comedy Show to do Zowie Bowie karaoke contest. So I hit up Chris and I was like, hey, you've been coming on the show for a while now. I came up with this idea. Let's do a karaoke contest, and we'll get enough people to sign up, and then we'll do finals, and then you pick the winner, and then they get to go on stage and sing their song with your band. And so the rules will pretty much pick a song that you know the words to because you're not going to have the lyrics when you're on stage.
Right.
And the first round, we don't really care what you sing. The second round, when Chris is in there, should probably be a song that's in the catalog of Zowie Bowie songs because his band's already going to know it.
Right.
And the first winner we had, her name was Morgan, and she won with Celine Dion song. Killed it.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
So we're still taking entries if you go to rockandcomedyshow.com, though.
So how exactly does somebody enter the contest?
They go to rockandcomedyshow.com, they fill it out, say they want to do it, say what song they want to do. If they have a specific karaoke track, like they don't trust the one I'm going to use,
Right.
they can just email it as an MP3, and we'll
Okay.
put it on, and then we call them, we have them perform. It's on the show, 5 minutes and nothing less. We don't even really interview, in, out, sing, and then
So you advise people that are trying to get in contact with you to go to the website.
go to the website.
Okay.
Forms right there. It tells us when we have somebody that's signed up, and then we call them right away and say, "Come on the show." And then
Okay.
probably going to go a little bit after Rock in the Spring because we're just tied up with that. There's just
Right.
so we're still looking for more entries and collecting them and stuff. But we've had some really fun ones. We like come in, have a good time, because if you get on stage, you're going to have to entertain. And of course, I don't know how many people that actually do karaoke realize, if they've even been to a Zowie Bowie show, how many people actually go to his show. I mean, the Rocks Lounge on a Friday is usually pretty packed.
Yeah, is it?
So they might not be familiar or be comfortable with up there, but
Yeah. All the years I've been in this town, I haven't ever been to the Zowie Bowie show.
You gotta go.
I've been in the same room and hung out with them and stuff, but never actually went to the show. Wow, as you can tell, I'm really losing my voice. Mario.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, I know you talked a little bit about the songs that you wrote for what would you categorize your music as?
The non-comedy music,
Yes.
everything. I mean, I've always
boring.
Boring. It's only because he hasn't heard any of it. I've always been a fan of just music in general. I lean more towards rock. When I was growing up, I remember I was in junior high, and I listened to my first rap album that had the parental advisory sticker. And,
Oh, yeah.
My parents were like super strict. Like when I wasn't allowed to ride my bike to school unsupervised till I was in 7th grade. And the first day that I did it, my mom followed me in her van. Yeah, I wasn't.
Are you sure it was your mom?
Right? And I mean, just
And
to
this
give you
guy's now living in Vegas.
right. Just to give you an idea, like I got the original Batman with Michael Keaton for Christmas when I was 12, and I
Okay.
wasn't allowed to watch it till April because it was PG-13.
Sounds like
Gosh,
yeah.
her parents were the same.
That's how
way.
strict they were. And so when I first listened to the first record that had like cussing on it, I was like, holy shit, you can do that? Like it just
Right.
blew my mind. So I got
Right.
totally entrenched in like gangster rap and all that stuff just because it felt naughty. It felt like I was
Right.
getting away with something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then I heard Pearl Jam for the first time, and I was completely blown away just by like, because my parents all listened to top 40, so I didn't hear that, that passionate rock that came out of like the 60s and the 70s and even the 80s, So Pearl Jam was my first introduction to that real emotional like
Right.
that rock, and so I've always loved that, and 90s grunge is like my favorite if I had to pick a favorite, but I love all kinds of music. So one of the things that I've tried to do is just come up with different riffs for different styles of music. Like I have some punk songs, I've got rockabilly songs, I've got rock songs, I've got rap rock songs, I've got even like some salsa stuff, some like oompa,
Nice.
like boom, boom, boom. I like to experiment, and that's why, when people, they say, oh, are you a comedian? And I say, no, I'm more of an entertainer. And because it's like, I like to mix different genres. I like to take different ideas and expand on them, because you never know when, where something can take you if you allow it to take you rather than
Right.
trying to control it. So, rock, I guess, would be the closest thing that I can think of.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just try to experiment as much as
What
possible.
instruments do you play?
I play I'm self-taught on everything, so I'm not good on anything.
Right. I'm the same
but
way. Same here, bro.
but I play the guitar mostly. I also play bass. I play some piano, a little bit of the violin, and
Nice.
yeah, and that's it. I can play buckets pretty well too.
Nice. Right. That's cool, man.
So you have live callers right now.
I do have live callers, yeah.
Well, I think caller number 10, I was just told by the guys over there at Gangster, caller number 10 will win a single day pass to Rock in the Spring. They can pick the day they want to go. So
Okay, cool. So let's re-announce this. So if you're watching the show, and I apologize for my voice right now, if you're watching the show, and you are the 10th caller, then you will win. How many tickets did you say, Jay?
They're going to get a single ticket.
A single ticket.
For them and a friend.
For you and a friend.
So it'll be, yeah.
So like a dual pass.
But see, and the way it works is we have 3-day general admission passes that you guys can buy for $100.
Okay.
And if you go directly to the M and buy them from the box office, not only will you save money because they don't have the ticket prices on top of it, but they're giving away, like, I believe $10 in gaming.
$10 in gaming.
So
okay.
you get a little cool deal, or you can just go to rockinthespring.com and get them there as well.
Nice. Okay. So you heard it, people. If you're watching the show right now,
And if you guys want the official lineup of what we have,
here is the groups that are going to be performing
on Friday night, the kickoff night, the 28th, we have Buck Cherry, Alien Ant Farm, Never Say Die, 9 Electric, State of Mind, Reclaim the Sky, and then we have DJ Josh Todd and DJ Lethal. And then on Saturday night, we have Art of Anarchy. That's the new band that Scott Stapp from Creed is in.
Okay.
Then we have Adelita's Way, Shallow Side, Artifice, Silent Theory, Vice's Core, and Behind the Fallen. And then our final night, we have Sick Puppies, Trapped, Eve to Adam, Bobaflex, Another Lost Year, Black Light District, Alive in Barcelona, Lola Black, and The Broken Thumbs.
Nice.
There's
dude.
so many that we can't do that without looking at it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so amazing.
At first, when it kept changing, like, he's out, they're in.
Right.
I was like, man, yeah, we got to lock this down.
Right.
So,
So again, that goes out to the 10th caller. We've actually had a couple of calls, but they weren't number 10. We're up to number 5 right now. So whenever we get our 10th caller.
so hang up and call again.
So yeah, hang up and call again if you're watching. Let's see. And somebody just click like or something to that effect. It's very odd that nobody's calling back. You guys were almost there. You almost won.
Everybody called again.
Right. If everybody just called
number
again,
10 in there, yeah.
you would be the 10th caller. So again, to the 10th caller. I'll tell you what, we'll continue on with the show instead of sitting here begging for calls. I'll keep an eye on it. So whenever we get our 10th caller, we will answer that and give away these monster tickets, dude. It sounds like a dope show. So.
Well, I don't know if you know, but Mario brought his guitar,
Did he?
and he could do the butt sex song.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Started
man.
it all.
Let's look at Mario. Why don't you slide out of your seat and gather yourself? I wanted to say that Chris Allen is watching and said that you guys rock.
That is Chris from Gangster. What up?
What's up, Chris Allen? How are you, sir? Welcome to Spit The Wit, sir. I had the pleasure of wearing Gangster Headphones one time at your show.
The man is on. I think if you ask nicely, he'll probably give you a pair.
Oh, I would love that. If I would probably end up giving it to my wife because she always gets first and best choice of everything. So, but yeah, she would look great in a pair of Gangster Headphones for sure. I mean, look, she loves the antique peach color too that they are, and white. That was actually her wedding colors, believe it or not.
Yep, like rose gold and white.
Rose gold and white.
Nice.
Our wedding colors.
Yeah. So that'd be awesome, Chris. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, 2 pairs. Okay, great. Awesome. We will definitely do that.
And tomorrow, we're having a kickoff. This is our second kickoff party to Rock in the Spring down at the Daydream Pool at the M.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of us hanging out at the cabana doing a live broadcast for the Rock and Comedy Show. So we have guys like Paul Shorentino, who's in Radio and the Rock Vault's going to swing by.
Right.
We've got Danny Wilde from Steppenwolf coming by. And, if you're not on our list, I do believe the Daydream Pool, actually the regular pool is open to the locals for free, but there is a small price to get into the Daydream Pool. But
That's cool, man. I met Paul Shorentino, actually. I was fortunate enough to see the Rating of the Rock Vault thing to you. I'm having so much trouble formulating the speech. I'm so sorry. So, but yeah, I saw it with you. Thank you for that. And then I ended up being a guest speaker on your show one day when he came in. He's a really cool dude. Yeah, he's a good dude.
remember the first night, I think it was the second show they had done. It was the one you went to. And it was one of those moments where they go to do Stairway to Heaven, and that's one of those songs where it's either going to go horribly bad,
or awesome,
or amazing.
Right.
And when it first starts, you're like, ooh. And then when they kill it, when those three guys come out, at that time it was John Payne, Andrew Freeman, and
Right.
Robin McCauley. And when
Right.
they came out and just knocked that out of the park, the whole theater just went silent. It was just amazing. So yeah, that show's badass.
I can imagine. We got Mario sitting up over here, as you can see, him stepping into the shot. So how are we gonna? You are playing an acoustic guitar, so we could just we'll just pick it up from the room, I guess. Yeah, this is gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
You're not setting me up for something bad.
No. But if you have very sensitive listeners, they might not like it.
Let's see. All right, so this is the song that pretty much got my career started. So hope you guys like it. Sorry, new strings. All right.
While you're tuning up, real quick, I was told the live remote tomorrow will be at the main pool at the Ultra Cabana. So come on out. That means there is no charge to go to the Daydream pool. So
Right. That's awesome. Like I centered a little bit more on you because you're the featured attraction.
Well,
right
thank
now.
you. Feel like a star. All right, here we go. Sometimes I sit around and I think of all the good times that we had. When we talk, we both can agree that even at our worst, things weren't so bad. That's why I'm glad I have you around when life seems stuck in a rut. So I'd like to thank you, 'cause when I wanted to, you let me stick it in your butt. Oh yeah, sha-la-la-la, stick it in your butt. Oh, it feels so good. When you look back over your shoulder and you see me standing there, we both know what comes next, and you smile at me like you don't have a care. Pull your cheeks aside and find a place for me to hide. I'm talking about my penis, y'all. I'm so glad that you don't mind it. Drives me wild each time I stick it in your butt. Oh yeah, sha-la-la-la, stick it in your butt. Take a deep breath. And every time we're done, I know you care 'cause you deal with the runs. You know I care too, 'cause I'm always bringing anal lube, and I don't mind the smell of your poo. And that's love, guys. Now I've wondered why, even though I heard you moan, you never cried. Then you tell me why, that it's better than getting a load shot in your eyes. Baby, please understand, tonight I wanna be your lover and not your fucking man. And I'd kiss you before I go, but it's hard with a dirty Sanchez under your nose. Dirty Sanchez underneath your nose. You got shit under your nose, girl.
Nice.
Yes.
Do we have caller number 10 yet?
Thank you.
We don't have caller number 10 yet, actually.
We have caller -1 now.
I think everybody is like, oh my gosh.
And I
Dude.
just gotta say something.
Go.
There is no point to sheltering your children.
No, there's
None.
not.
They're all going to find out later.
I also
It makes
wanted to add something.
them worse.
You moved me, man. That song
Well, thanks,
touched
bro.
my soul.
I'm hoping that song touched a couple other things,
Does it have
too.
meaning for you?
Oh my god. You have no idea.
You know, I wrote that song because the girl I had just broken up with would never do anal. And I was like, what would it be like if somebody let you do that, like, openly? So
Right.
that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. I do like my wife's point too, is that when you look at the situation here, you have somebody that was very sheltered growing up, and then her very sheltered growing up, and now he moved to Vegas, and she moved to Vegas, and she's married to me.
How did that happen?
Right?
I think it's more important to put things in context for kids than it is to shelter them from it. You know,
Right.
let
Because that just makes them want to do it more.
Oh yeah,
And
like
they go nuts.
I completely screwed up my life when I turned 18 because like, you know, I started realizing what you could do, and so I got into this whole like, well, if I could do that, well, let me just push the envelope and see where I could
Right.
take this, you know. Whereas if my parents had been a little bit more open about everything, it would have been
Nothing
more
would have been
casual.
a big deal.
Right,
So
right.
you wouldn't have been out there to.
But if it wasn't
Screw
for that,
yourself up.
I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And this is the first time in my life that I've ever done something or pursued something that I'm really passionate about.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it worked out.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, you learned a lot, dude, in your short time here, because it took me and Jay a very long time to learn these things. Everybody sucks. Nobody likes you. Okay. It took me freaking 10 years.
It's not that it took us long to learn it. We just were in denial.
Right.
Who
Because
wouldn't like me?
we had inflated egos and we
who wouldn't
believed
like me? What's not to like?
Well, the great thing about Vegas is even if that happens to be the case, there's still a ton of opportunities here as long
There
as you're
is.
willing to go seek them out. And that's what the great thing about
Right.
this town. It's like the start over capital of the world.
Right.
You know?
And you seem like a real go-getter type of person, which I'm also not.
I
want it to fall into my lap, or I don't want it at all.
Well, I literally gave up everything to do this. So it's a little bit of motivation
Absolutely.
to have homelessness looming over your head.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to announce one more time because we do have people that come in and out of our show to watch it. Let's go ahead and address what we're giving away. And I'm going to say this, because it is a Friday night and people are, getting ready to go out or whatever, if nobody happens to call, can we have a way that we, if somebody mentions or something that...
I think, after the live broadcast, sure, the first person to hit you up.
Or the first person to hit me up. Okay.
Or they can share the status if they can go to the Rockin' Comedy Show page, like it, and share one of our Rockin' the Spring statuses.
Nice.
First share will get it.
The
There you
first
go.
share will get it. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and
the live broadcast.
right after the live broadcast.
We're gonna
You
have
still
50
have a
shares,
chance
yeah.
to win this tickets, which is good for two.
Or maybe the first person to call in
Right.
with the dirtiest joke they know.
Okay, or a dirty joke caller. So if you're watching this and you want free ticket for I'm gonna say tickets, even though it's one.
It's a pair for one
Right,
day.
right.
So you can go Saturday if you wanna see the
Right.
bands on Saturday. If you're a fan of Buck Cherry, then you're gonna want to go Friday.
Or
Right.
if you're a dick, you can go by yourself to 2 days.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you have a dirty joke and you want to win free tickets to see any of these bands, please call in right now.
And don't forget next Friday, Battle of the Bands, where you can also win cool stuff if you come out and support us and be a part of that.
Okay.
And send one of those lucky bands to the
And that's at Adrenaline, you said?
Is it Adrenaline?
And what time is that?
I believe it starts at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Okay, great.
And they have a chance to win some of these awesome Bluetooth Gangster Headphones right here.
That is true.
They're pretty sick.
Those are dope. I didn't know they were Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can charge them up, and then when you plug them in, doesn't even use up the battery. So
Oh,
It just
my God.
keeps getting better.
Oh my God, Chris Allen, you are the best. You are my best friend right now.
he's killing it.
He is working very hard every single day since we came up with this idea, and now he's working so hard that he's moved into the green room under the stage at the M. That's where he's working all the time.
Yeah,
coming
nice.
up with just different things and getting people to come out. I mean, he's a beast, and we've helped him out, as much as we can. We have the Rocket. We have Viva Rock Vegas now, so the Orleans is packed. It's packed with just rockabilly people everywhere. And this morning there was 2,000 people in line waiting to get tickets for the shows that are happening there tonight, plus the car show. And I went through there with a ton of flyers and was like, come check this show out. There's so many tattooed people in there. Why wouldn't they come to a show where
Right.
you can get a tattoo right on the spot? So
Well, don't shortchange yourself either. Like, you've been doing a lot of hard work, too. Like, I've done other podcasts before, and
Right.
they were just garbage because, you have this person who's like, oh, I'm going to do this podcast, and they like to just tell everybody to do the work
Right.
while they sit back. And I'm like, it's your dream. You should be
Right.
working harder than anybody else.
Exactly.
When he asked me, I'd done the show a couple of times before I got asked to be a co-host, and I always had a great time, but not until I started really working on the show with him did I realize how much work this guy puts in, not
Oh, yeah.
only to, like, editing, getting sponsors, and he's not one of those people who likes to take credit for everything. He always is like about the group. So like, I'm really honored to be able to work with this
Yeah.
guy on such an awesome
You
project.
gotta live, eat, sleep, and shit. this
Absolutely.
shit.
don't forget, I'll pay you after that.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Got to earn that paycheck.
It's the same reason why I've remained friends with him for so long, because I see a lot of myself in him when it comes to doing things. If you don't give it your all, I mean, look what he does to his house every Halloween.
Every
You
Halloween.
know what I mean?
For one day.
For one day,
Yeah.
dude. And I'm like, that's exactly how I am. And I want to surround myself with people that are like that, which are rare. They're hard to find.
Especially in this town.
They are, dude.
Yeah.
Because people come in flashy and they expect, hey, I've learned how to do this. I can get it all right now. And they're not willing to do the footwork.
Right.
And the next thing you know, you're completely like, this guy's an idiot.
They think that the footwork is showing up with a sequin jacket.
Right. That's it, man. I've got the image, man. Look at my hair.
Or
spiky.
Or they've been to one of the magic shows, and they're a magician just starting out. So they're like, well, I've seen Murray Sawchuk, so he can help me out.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. Murray's one of the hardest working magicians I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and he pays his dues.
I didn't want to talk about something that bad, but I did have to bring it up. And that was when you're talking about magicians, the amazing Jonathan.
Oh.
You heard about what's going on with him.
Of course, yeah.
And so, we here at Spit the Wit, and I'm sure you as well, wish him the best, and that's really messed up.
It's very messed up, and from what I understand, one of the last conversations I had with him, he's got a few treatment options, I think, in like Canada and stuff. Where he's going to go try it. I mean, he did lose, I think, part of a toe like a year and a half ago, but that's one reason why he had to get out of it. He had to stop doing magic, and it sucks. But now it seems like he's getting a little bit more strength. He is doing a few gigs here and there.
Oh, really? Good.
Which is cool, yeah.
Yeah, good. The last thing that I heard about him, was very emotional and heartwarming, but it wasn't very promising. Yeah. And so I'm glad to hear that there's something.
I think people have, kind of given him other options. And
Good, yeah. So we wish you well, amazing Jonathan.
Yeah, of course.
Always. Okay. So I think what we're going to do, since nobody's called in for the joke thing, we're going to let it ride for the last 10 minutes. And if they do happen to call, we'll give them the tickets to the show. And if it does not, then the first person to share.
Then we'll just give them to you two.
Yeah, right. And then we'll just go. Well, we don't even need passes, We're Spit the Wit over here.
I'm Frankie almost.
Right. Have I ever needed a ticket to get in anywhere? No, because I ride on the coattails of Crazy Jay.
He's with
Be
me.
like, do you know who I am? I'm Crazy Jay's friend, Frankie Almost.
He's my driver.
That's awesome. It's been a long time since I think the last time we went clubbing, because I don't know if you do it anymore, but I haven't done it in so long, dude.
When I quit being a concierge after 9 years, I was like, I'm done.
Me and you went to Chateau one night, though. It was all like carte
That was, I think,
blanche.
one of the last times.
That was like one of the last times. It was me too. VIP tables and the whole thing. And, it's funny, dude, that in this town you can become so desensitized to it that you can get, like, we had a, table that we could stand on. We could dance on the table if we wanted to. There was no rules for us. And it was literally just bottle after bottle. And we're like, I'm never coming back.
I said I would never go to a nightclub if I didn't have a table. And now that I'm not, and I don't want that to be like, because I think I'm entitled to it.
Right.
It's just after 9 years of it.
Yeah.
We left the venue we were at, and we were at Hard Rock Live last night. We're leaving, and we're going through the MGM to get back to our car, and it's already 1 o'clock in the morning, and that line to get into, I don't want to give them any plugs, but whatever.
Right.
It's still at least a 3-hour wait.
Oh my God.
And it's 1 o'clock in the morning. They're not going to be open that much longer, and they're just standing there, just hurtled in, and I was like,
seen there.
I would never do that.
Right.
I got spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. I got spoiled.
Yeah,
I lived that
here.
life for 9 years, and it was awesome.
Right.
But I would never ever. One of my favorite experiences with a table and bottle services. We were at Pure, and there was we always usually got the same bouncer, which was always cool. We knew him really well.
Right.
And he was always good because, the girls will hit you up because they want a place to sit.
Exactly.
So they'll like you for about 3 minutes and then get a drink and then they'll bounce.
Yeah.
So he was always very good, this guy. And we were sitting there one night and he noticed that these girls that we brought over weren't talking to us, but they were just drinking our booze.
Right.
And eventually he didn't even look at us. He just looked at me and goes, "Ladies, it's time you go." And he just moved them. And I was like, that's sweet.
I remember you telling me. I wasn't there that night, but I remember you telling me the story.
That's such a
and that is so awesome, dude, because for those of you that don't comprehend what's happening here, he means that the girls were schmoozing, just wanted to be seen with him
and
so that they
booze.
Right, so that they
and so they get free booze and have places to sit.
Right, so that it would give the appearance as if they were.
Like, we didn't tell you to
them.
wear those 7-inch heels. That's your fault,
Right.
not ours. Yeah.
Right.
That was always fun when I was working front desk at Caesar's Palace, and I always did the early morning shifts, like 2 a.m. and stuff. And watching the girls leave after pier closed, and they're holding their sandal, or they're holding their high heels, and they're stumbling out drunk, and it looks like they just were like a draft that just got born. I mean, they can't walk. So
I was
bad.
at Excess one night, and there was this chick that everything on point. I mean, she was perfect, from head to toe. There wasn't a hair out of place, and she's dancing up on this freaking table, right? That's in between these booths. And she's dancing up there, and everybody's like looking at her, and you can just see it in her face. She's just in ecstasy, thinking that she's just this queen, and she freaking toppled over, and her heel caught, and she freaking fell all the way down onto the booth. So first she fell on the platform she was on, and then rolled onto the booth, and then down onto the floor.
Oh.
Literally. So I called her my poor meatball.
There's nothing more entertaining than a shattered ego.
I started smiling after that. I was like, it's perfect. Great poetic justice for that.
Well, that's really common in an image-driven town. You know
Right.
what I mean? So,
And you feel bad for actually
A split
thinking that way, because you're like, she wasn't doing anything wrong. Why am I so facetious? Why am I so malicious? In my facetious. Why am I so malicious in my my characterization of her and wanting her to fall? And then I'm like, did I will that to happen?
well, it's the same reason.
the early Frankie Almost, definitely. Today's Frankie
Yeah.
Almost, not so
Yeah,
much.
I used to be a lot different than I am now.
Well, I think it's the same reason that people love America's Funniest Home Videos and fail compilations. I mean,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
just drawn to seeing that happen. Like, I'm sure that if it was somebody else who was doing something like if they were singing or something like that, or really trying, and they fell, you'd be like, oh. But when it's just like, look at me, look at me,
Right. She was on top of the
there's
world.
a little bit of poetic justice to that,
There really is. There really is. Because she didn't pay to get in. She didn't pay for a single thing.
Not a damn thing.
Right.
Well, her dignity did.
Oh, I guess there is still a little bit of evil streak still in me. That's hilarious. Okay, so listen, everybody. We're about to get out of here, but we wanted to give you one more chance for those of you that are watching. If you call in, tell us a dirty
The
joke.
first person to call right now.
First person to call right now. You don't even have to tell us a joke. Just call in, and we will give you free tickets to Tell Me the Bands Again.
Here we go. Friday night, we have Buck Cherry, and we have Alien Ant Farm, 9 Electric, Never Say Die, State of Mind, Reclaim the Sky, and then we have DJ Lethal and DJ Josh Todd. Saturday the 29th, we have Art of Anarchy, Adelita's Way, Shallow Side, Artifice, Silent Theory, Vice's Core, and Behind the Fallen. And then we have on Sunday, the final night, Sick Puppies, Trapped, Eve to Adam, Boba Flex, Another Lost Year, Blacklight District, Alive in Barcelona, Lola Black, and The Broken Thumbs.
I mean, that is just so many bands. So if you are
It's going to be the
watching,
best pool party Vegas has ever seen.
right, call the number below on your screen, and we will give you 2 tickets to that. It's actually 1 ticket, but it's good for 2. I have to clarify that because people get mad. They'll be like, "What? There's only 1 ticket here."
You get to go one day,
Right.
but you get to bring a friend.
Right.
There you go.
So it's a ticket for 2, but for 1 day.
And then you're going to love it so much that you'll buy more tickets.
Right.
Go back.
Lavana Grillo. Do you know who Lavana Grillo
Yes.
is? Okay.
She cannot win.
She's calling in right now. No, I'm just kidding. She said, "We thank you, Jay, for all your work and help with the rock into spring." So
She's part of the gangster team,
yeah.
and she's
Right.
pretty awesome too. She's been working her ass off just
She's
like this.
she's Mrs. Gangsta.
is she Mrs. Gangsta?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was unaware that there was a Mr. and Mrs. Gangsta.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Cool.
That's a great shirt, Jay, said Mitch Swanger.
Yes, he is from Silent Theory.
He's from what?
Silent Theory.
Silent Theory. Oh, nice.
One of the bands that's playing where?
One
where?
of the bands.
Rock
at
and Spring.
I thought you were going to say Adrenaline. He's not competing.
No, definitely not.
So he, what day does he play? Do you know?
Man, what are you doing to me? Aren't you writing this down?
No,
I believe he's playing on Saturday night.
on Saturday night. Mitch, correct us if that's not the case. Let us know what night.
He is playing on Saturday night.
Okay, never mind. All right. Well, we want to thank you guys all for watching. We're about to cut out of here, but we want to let you guys each individually plug whatever it is that you would like to plug before we get out of here.
The most important, of course, Rockin' the Spring, April 28th through the 30th. Tickets on sale now, rockinthespring.com. And come out Friday night, the 21st, at Adrenaline for Battle of the Bands. You might win some stuff. The hot gangster girls are going to be there giving away stuff. And, of course, sponsored by Heineken and Shakespeare Vodka.
Beautiful. Mario.
What he said.
What he said?
Nobody books me anymore, so I'm riding his coattails too.
Maybe it's time to change that.
Well, I've got some stuff in the works. I mean, if you guys like the song that you heard earlier, keep an eye out because there's an opportunity possibly for the Mario Z show happening in Vegas, which is going to be an interactive comedy show. So there's going to be music, there's going to be dancing, there's going to be games, free booze. For some lucky people that come out to see it. I've got a few things in the works. It's just, in this town, you have to make the connections before you can make anything happen.
Right.
Like I said, I'm still new, but like I said, I'm riding this guy's coattails, so maybe, something will happen. You'll never know.
They're pretty big coattails.
Yeah, but definitely...
He wears big coats.
But definitely make sure that everybody listens to, the Rockin' Comedy Show and stay, because, I mean, Rockin' the Spring is just the start. This is really kind of like the flagship event that we're doing, and once this is all done, you're going to start seeing the Rockin' Comedy Show and Gangster all over town, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that.
Not gangsters. Gangster.
Right.
Headphone. Big difference.
Right.
Big difference.
Right.
If you see gangsters running around, you might be on the wrong side of town.
That means the Raiders are in town.
Oh man, it's funny. I lived in the Bay Area like almost my whole life, and then I moved to Vegas to get away from all that crap, and then
Here I come.
It's like herpes; it just won't go away.
Oh man, we want to thank both of you guys for coming on.
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Seriously, it was a very enjoyable show, and for the first person that shares
Rockin' Comedy Show
on Facebook will win the tickets that we just spoke of. So make sure that you do that after the broadcast.
An hour after the broadcast.
All right, thank you guys so much, and to the rest of you, we love you. Thank you so much for watching.
And choose love over hate always.
Always, I like that.
And that's when the music's supposed to play.
That's the awkward.
I don't have my fingers at my disposal right now.